Seattle is hosting the FIFA World Cup, and honestly, the city is electric right now. There are a few more games to go, but everybody on YouTube is telling you where to take the best photo of the Space Needle. Around Pike Place Market. I actually live here, so I'm going to suggest my 5 recommendations for cafes and restaurants within walking distance from the Seattle Stadium, the Space Needle, and also Pike Place Market, as well as some free attractions that people skip normally around Seattle, and the best day trip and half day trips from the Seattle area. But no matter if you're here for a FIFA game, to watch the Seahawks play, to get views of Mount Rainier, ride the Ferris wheel, or go up on top of the oldest skyscraper west of the Mississippi. Not the Space Needle, by the way. But besides clam chowder, not much is known about the food here, the culture, or anything else. So we're gonna break this down into a few categories. And first up is food. So everybody comes to Pike Place Market to see the people throw the fish, to maybe get some clam chowder or some apple cider. But what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna leave the market and go to some of the best places in the city. So right off the bat, we're gonna jump into cafes. Everybody knows Seattle for Starbucks. And honestly, the first Starbucks is at Pike Place Market. But we're gonna step outside of Pike Place Market because this location is central to Pike Place and also the pier. So if you're doing the watch party at the pier, it's not that far. It's about a 5-minute walk. If you're coming from Lumen Field, it's going to be about 15 to 20 minutes. And the first coffee shop we're going to go to is actually Ginger Matcha. This one is actually one I was the most, or at least Kat was the most happy about. And it's because we actually went here in Tacoma. The shop here in Seattle has a completely different vibe. It's like a chic, retro, because with the towels and everything. The one in Tacoma is a lot more homey, but we had some of the best matcha we've ever had, and it's authentic to Japan and Seoul, or Jeju. So Korean matcha, Jinjin, Jeju, right? And so lavender latte is what Kat got last time. I got the misaguru, and I got it again today. Kat saw the charge and made me come back. The next one is going to be also a matcha place, and this one is going to be new. It's Lake Gray. We actually did a whole video on this. I didn't take too much vertical videos because I did it mainly for Instagram, so go check out our Instagram. And if you want to see our Seattle content on Instagram, just search Blazing Travelers, 2 S's and Travelers, Seattle. One word, hashtag, and you're going to see all our Seattle content. And then getting into cafes, we have a few small local chains. So we have Boon Boona Coffee, which is the Ethiopian coffee spot. It's actually really good. They roast their own beans. They even sell wholesale at Costco. And that is going to be authentic, good tasting Ethiopian coffee. Besides that, we have 2 more specialty roasters. Sponte Coffee, which is more closer to Pike Place. It's about a 3-minute walk from the market. And then we have Ghost Note Coffee, which specializes in unique coffee flavors. And then they also have seasonal drinks. For Vietnamese coffee, we have Jolly Days, which is a combination of Vietnamese coffee shop, and also they have matcha. But also in Chinatown, we also have Lake Gray, which is the newest addition. And combined with Ginger Matcha, those are the top 2 matcha and tea spots in the city. Ghost Note is 15 minutes from Pike Place, and Jolly Days in Lake Gray is 15 minutes from the station. Now for restaurants, I have to take it a little further, so we're not gonna walk, we're gonna take the bus. And these are gonna be all restaurants that you can get within 1 bus, 1 train, 1 monorail ride from this main area. Because we're gonna skip these long lines at like Ludi's and not go where it's hype on Instagram, but go where it actually is tasty. And one place that's actually not hype is going to be The Boat, which is in CID or Chinatown International District. And as you notice, I am in my car because I'm showing you a bunch today, so I'm not about to take the bus to every location. If you're gonna just go to 1 location, take the bus. I'm going to like 10 today, so let's go. If you're in Capitol Hill, go to Byung Byung Noodles. If you're in Chinatown, to go visit Lake Gray or go to Hing Hae Park, then go to 10 Seconds Yunnan Rice Noodles. Both of these are Chinese style noodle dishes, but from 2 different areas, so they're very different, but both good. For number 2, if you want burgers, go to Secret Burger Kitchen Seattle, in between Chinatown and Capitol Hill. For the best meal under $20 in Seattle, you need to go to The Boat, which is Vietnamese style fried chicken. They also have a pho spot next door, which is good, but it's nowhere as good as The Boat is, which is a staple in Seattle and Chinatown. Top 2 fried chickens I've ever had in my life. It's so garlicky and crispy and good, and it's not even breaded. Now these next 2, you gotta be okay with just going just strictly for the food, not for the vibes of the neighborhoods. If you go to Beacon Hill, you can go to Bar del Corso, which has to be one of the best Italian spots, especially pizzas in the area. If you go a little bit more, 10 minutes more on the bus to Mount Baker area, you can go to Emerald City Fish and Chips, which has to be the best fish and chips in the city. Best hush puppies I've ever had in my life. And this first day trip is actually going to be a half day trip. So we're gonna start with the half day trip first and then end with the day trips. Let us know where we're at.
Rattlesnake Lake.
Rattlesnake Lake. So if you're in Seattle, it is like a 45-minute drive from Seattle, probably like 35 minutes from Bellevue area. It is a pretty beautiful area. You have so much to do over here. Previously, we've gone further than this before, but the only times we stopped in this area was for Snoqualmie Falls, which is like 10 minutes away. The downtown Snoqualmie Falls is like 15 minutes away. And then the downtown Snoqualmie Historic District is going to be about 12 minutes away from here. And that's actually where we stopped earlier to get some coffee, which was actually really great. And it was an interesting coffee shop. Alright, Kat, what did you just say about the coffee?
Oh, it tastes like the one that we have at home. It's so good. She almost just be so good. What you doing, Kenny?
Going up our kayak.
That's so cool.
Facebook Marketplace special. Just out here enjoying the lake life. This water is kind of freezing though. Our baby is scared to go in, but she can put like her knees in, but the whole half body, no. It is kind of chilly. It feels like it'd be super refreshing though. The sun is out. It's like 80 something degrees in Washington, so that's like relatively, they think it's like 99 degrees. We got the kayak.
Shout out to Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, they got like scuba gear. Chinese guys. Some people randomly. The mountains over there. It's funny, after seeing that guy that's like right behind us, I realized that that's the only other black guy I've seen on this lake. I don't know if it's a Washington thing, there's not that many black people here, or if it's because it's an outdoors lake thing and, you know, the stigma about black people not knowing how to swim. We just adventurous, I guess. I'm not whitewashed, I promise you. In total, I think we spent about 3 hours navigating this area, being in the water, being outside of it, the girls going out, me taking the babies out, and vice versa, just switching and stuff. Pretty relaxing, wasn't too crowded. There was a good amount of people here, but it wasn't crowded at all. We even got to see some little ducklings and some wildlife. Originally, we planned on just going back home and eating dinner, but it was kind of late enough and it was a weird timing. The game was also on as well. So we decided to eat at the local burger spot, and we also got a beer next door. And then we headed for some ice cream, which is funny enough because in Snohomish, which is another 40-minute day trip you can take, there's an ice cream place from Snoqualmie, which is nearby here, and Kat recognized the ice cream flavors, and so that ice cream shop actually served Snoqualmie ice cream, which is really good actually. Another day trip, you can go on the ferry. It takes about 30 to an hour depending on where you go. For this one, we're going to Bainbridge Island, which I think takes 35 minutes to get to from the city. There's a lot of places, a lot of beaches to relax here. These aren't like sandy beaches. These are beaches with like driftwood and wood pieces. People chill, propose to people, stuff like that. Views of Mount Rainier, views of calm skies of the Puget Sound area as well. You can kind of relax on this island though as well. Technically, you can convert this island trip into a multi-day trip because this is the middle ground between going from here and Olympic National Park, which I highly suggest if you have enough time to go to. But if you just stay here, you can explore this area. You can even go back to the Bainbridge area, eat some of the food, some of the ice cream shops they have, go buying stuff in the local town. Or you can go further out and go to like Indianola or Poulsbo, which we go to a lot. Poulsbo is like a Viking area, little Norway. And so if you want to experience something outside of that or even show your Norway spirit for the World Cup, you can go over there. And no, we're not going to show you around the Space Needle because that's what everybody else is doing. But for more day trip ideas now, take 3 hours and go to Vancouver. So cross the border into Canada, explore that, which is basically like another Seattle. Or you can go 3.5 hours south and go to Portland, spend the day in Portland, and then come back up. Both of them are good recommendations. And if you haven't been, I suggest going. If you had to choose one, I would say Portland is the most different, but we're international travelers. So if you ever been to Canada, I will just recommend that just because it's international. And if you're in town for FIFA, it is also another host city. So you get that benefit. But Portland is the more unique of the two since Vancouver just feels like Seattle. And so now that we just got done with half day and full day trip, and I know the view of me is not the prettiest, the lighting is not that great. I'm kind of like an unlocked character in a video game, but hey, we have Mount Rainier peeking out right now. That's what they call it in Seattle. It's peeking out or showing today. That's how you know the weather is good. We have that in the background. And so let's get into things that you can do around the city that are absolutely free. The obvious, walking around Pike Place Market or any of the neighborhoods which are really walkable over here. So you have Fremont area, you have Ballard, but then you have the lakes and the parks. And so you have Green Lake, you have Lake Union, you have Lake Washington that you can hang out at. You more so stroll and walk on the beach, or you sit down on the bench, hang out with some friends, maybe have a picnic, but not necessarily like go into the water. Seattle's not the place for that. There are other areas around Washington that have great lakes where you can actually go in the water and do stuff like that, like Rattlesnake Lake, what I talked about earlier, but the beaches here are more for the views. If you want views of the downtown skyline, you have to go to Alki Beach in West Seattle. A lot of people don't like crossing the West Seattle Bridge, but this is gonna give you full unobstructed views of Seattle. Now, taking it a step further with the lakes and stuff, you have other parks. You have parks like Cal Anderson Park, you have Jimi Hendrix Park, you have CID and Hing Hay Park, which is where the predominantly Asian. Jimi Hendrix is a predominantly black area as well. And then obviously on the pier area, you have the Olympic Sculpture Park, which I haven't been to, but I heard is pretty beautiful and breathtaking. And so there's a lot of different types of parks in the areas where you can enjoy. You can even go to the Seattle Center, which has an open green field, and there's usually some type of free event going on. There's a lot of food truck festivals. I think the Bite of Seattle is about to happen in July, and so you can go to that as well, and that'll be completely free. Obviously, if you want to get food, you have to pay for it, but there's so many different festivals and things happening around Seattle all the time. There's even a free Waterfront shuttle, which will take you from like Olympic Sculpture Park to the Space Needle, I think down to Lumen Field, and some other areas for completely free. And so you don't even have to pay for transportation with that. Or obviously you can walk, which is free as well. Another area that I almost forgot was Gas Works Park. And so this is an interesting area because it has this big, giant, rusted metal sculpture or frames, Gasworks, right? And so a lot of people come because there's a kid park in the area. There's a big open field. You'll see people LARPing, pretty much like the cosplay, fighting with the swords and stuff like that. But then even right now, because it's summer, they are doing like bi-weekly kayaking on the lake, DJ sets and everything. And so you see a lot of people out there, you see a lot of people on boats, you see a lot of people on kayaks as well. And then sometimes if you see the seaplane or the helicopters, they actually go around Gasworks as well. It's a pretty cool area. A lot of people just come out here to relax. And I do also believe that floating jacuzzi sauna thing is on that lake as well, but it is not free. But you can just go out and hang out if you want to. Just beware, there's a lot of geese poop around. You have some other beaches like at those lakes and also Alki Beach, next to Pier 58 as well. But these aren't beaches where you actually like relax on the sand. You want to go further out to actually get in the water and to actually be out there. That's where you have like Rattlesnake, like I talked about. A little bit closer is Lake Sammamish, kind of on the other side of Bellevue, which is the next city over that the light rail takes you to. And now, for everyone that's here to watch the FIFA games, even if you're not going to one of the games in person because it costs way too much, it costs 1 month's rent or whatever, there are still a lot of watch parties and activities happening around the city. This is why I think Seattle is one of the best host cities here during the FIFA World Cup in North America. I'll be going to Vancouver in a few days and we'll see how it is during their match that same day. But basically here, even in this area in Central District, they were doing a live watch party during the USA versus Australia game where they had a big LED screen, they had DJ, they had people sitting, bleach chairs and all this stuff watching the game and celebrating. And then obviously I went to Pier 62 for that first game, Mexico versus South Africa. Yeah, Mexico versus South Africa. That was crazy. Just check it out. What you got? What you got? USA. I don't have tickets right now. Hopefully I'll win some tickets or get some really cheap discounted tickets for like $200 or less. But until then, I am here at the Barge and Pier celebration, which is completely free. The pier is packed right now because it is free. The barge is sort of empty because
why pay for that when you can be here? And then the people who paid for that are just hanging out with everybody over here. So they actually told people that if you have a permit ticket to go over there to create space to allow more people in here. But I think they said forget it because it is so wild here. Mexico is repping through and through. I've seen one person so far with a South African jersey. Everybody else is Mexican jersey, a few random jerseys, a few DR jerseys. By the way, these celebrations will be happening all throughout the whole World Cup, and so they'll be here the entirety of the time. So feel free to pop on by. We booked this like an hour beforehand, so just make sure you scan a ticket. It's free to come into, but you need to make sure you have a reservation beforehand. It's not super complicated. In 2 minutes, you can have your ticket. But there's so many different things to do there.
So that's one of the good things about being in a host city is that if you go to any of these free watch parties, like not even the paid areas, there's lots of freebies from like Coke, Bank of America, Don Julio. So Coke was doing like face paint markers that you could paint your face, and then they were also doing this head wrap for cooling down that was soaked in water. And then the Seattle Reign, which is the women's soccer team, they were doing free giveaways, and so we won that soccer ball. Oh, and the police are keeping it safe. The energy was through the roof. You wouldn't necessarily think we were in Mexico, but you would think we were in LA because so many Mexicans showed out. They were even selling elotes and Mexican pops outside. Just, it was wild and crazy. And then there's a lot of other watch parties. I also went to Pacific Place Mall as well. Didn't get too much vertical shots, so go check out the Instagram reel I made for that. Like I said before, Blazing Traveler Seattle, and you'll see that as well. And then there's a lot of other stuff. So Victory Hall is doing something. You have a lot of small locations and breweries. Pioneer Square as well has a big area, and that was crazy during the USA versus Australia game. Like, this is crazy. It is absolutely crazy right now. I'm here at Pioneer Square at the Occidental Square Park area, and I had to step out of the crowd because there's so many people here. There's probably 5,000 people, and this is not even along the waterfront. The other two piers where the march started or even at the stadium yet. It is absolutely insane. You might also see your boy in the Fox News because I just photobombed their little, I almost said PR, but their little news interview right there. Actually said that there's supposed to be like 10,000 Australia fans. I've only seen like 2 Australia jerseys so far, but this is my 3rd area where there's a watch party here in Seattle throughout the whole World Cup. Today is obviously packed because it's the US game, first time in Seattle. And the crazy thing is, people said the US wasn't going to do FIFA well, and people said Seattle, especially because it's not a big metropolitan city with a big transportation system. Like, people don't realize that Seattle has one of the best MLS soccer teams and the craziest soccer fan. And then the US is 30% immigrants. Of course we watch soccer here. I am not going to front. I've never seen this many Lime bikes and Lime scooters in one city ever before. There's probably at least 10,000 in this city. That's crazy. And so you have a lot of other small areas, so you can always just check local breweries and bars or just search Seattle FIFA Watch Party. And there's a lot of areas around the city as well. So in other outside neighborhoods and outside smaller cities, the suburbs, so you have Bellevue, you have Renton, you have Tukwila, you have Redmond as well. You have Everett, which is where the home of Boeing is as well, going north to Snohomish County. And so there's a lot of areas where you can watch stuff. So that's my guy, that's someone that actually lives here. So leave the downtown area, leave Pike Place, leave the Space Needle. So drop a comment where you're visiting from, what match you have been to or are going to, and if you have been to any of these places I recommended. And if you didn't catch, this is the Seattle city flag. Rep Seattle, support a nonprofit, and support me by liking and subscribing. Next up, we have Chicago and Louisiana before we hit up Africa. Click the link right here to watch those videos.